What up, guys? Welcome to episode 103 of Fresh Off the Mats. Here with the Jiu-Jitsu Joes.
Show them the shirt. Show them the shirt.
Oh,
Look at this thing.
leg day is the best day. If you want to get a fat ass. Bro, that's why women that go to the gym, they automatically get these big asses out of nowhere because they just focus on the legs.
Well, that's what I was saying the other day.
They just say, fuck the upper body, legs.
Bro,
legs. Then they get these popping asses out of nowhere.
If you want strong ass legs, go train like a female.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying use their weights. Like, good fucking use weights like a man.
Follow their regimen.
Bro, they're hitting legs 3 times a week.
That's all they care about, dude. It's very rare that you come across a woman who's
like,
also focusing on the upper body.
Yeah.
At Worlds, I ran into this girl who does the gladiators in Australia. Bro, her upper body was jacked too, but you could tell she focuses
so the
more
gladiator,
on the legs.
Is it still ran like how the old one? Because again, all I know about it was the thing that Mac was watching, the documentary on it.
Yeah.
So they just fight each other, right? Like it's kind of like wrestling, but like they set up certain event, kind of like the 100 was.
Yeah. So gladiators back, I think it was in like the 80s, maybe even starting in the 70s. But I remember in the 80s, gladiators was they took these super athlete fit people and they put them against the everyday Joe Schmo or like people who were semi-fit. And they put them in, it was more games based. Yeah. It was supposed to be like the updated Olympics.
So I remember one they had where they like flew and the whole idea was that they get to stick to the wall or something. Yes,
and they have one with like, I call it the Q-tip, but they use the joust thing to knock each other off the podium.
Pugil sticks. We do that in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, so it was games that were based like that. So they put these super athletes against like regular people and stuff. And it was just to basically do like an updated gladiators.
Just in Australia.
Yeah, so they updated.
They fought a kangaroo.
Yeah, right. So they brought it back, and it's in Australia. And I met Jamie Lynn.
I don't know.
Oh fuck, I think Jamie Lee.
I don't know.
Oh fuck,
you're gonna say these things. I don't know any of them. So you can get her name wrong.
So I know her name from Gladiators is Chaos. So that's because they give them these names like Ice, Fire, Chaos. Like they give them these one-word names. So I know her as Chaos, and like, bro, the chick is strong as fuck. Like. Dude, and jacked as fuck. Let me tell you, man, when she pulled me in for that hug, I was like, oh, don't hurt me.
I'm sorry.
But she was super nice, super sweet lady. She was like, oh, yeah, of course I'll take a photo with you. I was like, oh, thank you. Like, I always feel weird. I feel weird going up to people.
Bro, even if someone's super famous, if I got a photo with them, I'll be like, I don't know. Like, are you good with it?
And also, I don't want to bother famous people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when I see
you don't want to be
people,
that person. Be like, I wonder.
Because I know they get it all the time. Yeah. I know they're like, can I take a photo with you? Can I do? And I don't want to be a bother. But I saw her and I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna ask her for a photo. I never do this. I see like Nicholas Marigali. I see all these guys, Cyborg, all these guys at jiu-jitsu things who are like famous in the jiu-jitsu world. But I never asked them for a photo. I'm like, oh, okay, it's cool. I saw that. I saw him. Maybe I'll say hi, but that's about it. I don't want to bother them with a photo. But her, I was like, I got to ask her for a photo because she's from Australia. I'm never going to see her again and shit.
I was going to say, like, the thing is, the first time I saw, what was his name? Jacare?
Jacare, yeah, Souza.
So, yeah, when I saw him, I remember it was like you and Tyler. We're like, oh my God, that's Jacare. And I was like, I don't know who that is. You're like, what? And I was like, I don't know who he is. And the funny part is, that wasn't the first time I seen him. I saw him at the other competitions because the kid competes.
If you're not heavy into MMA, you don't know.
That's the thing. And so I never was. So like when I saw him, I was like, that looks like a normal dude to me. And that was it.
He's obviously very good at jiu-jitsu and stuff. And that's what his main passion is now. But he was also big in MMA. But if you didn't watch UFC, then whatever.
That's the thing. I never watched any of that. Even now, like I watch it when you guys host like a, hey, we want to watch the fight.
That's the only time I watch it.
Right, cool. Outside of that, I get highlights on everything.
I get highlights on Instagram. Yeah, I don't go out of my way to watch
those things end at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes. What the fuck do I look like watching these guys fight for that long?
I get that it's in Vegas most of the time, and that's why there's always that time difference, and that's why we're always up till 2 in the morning. But you got to go, when you're a thing shown on TV, you got to go by Eastern Standard Time. You got to go by what we do. Like, we are the best. We are the best. Eastern Standard Time is the best. So you got to go by Eastern Standard Time.
Work off the stock market.
Yeah, prime time for NFL, even if it's hosted in Vegas, they base it on Eastern Standard Time.
They base it on Eastern Time.
Monday Night Football, Eastern Standard Time. Baseball, Eastern Standard Time. Like, these are things that are always done by us. The UFC is the only one that's like, no, we're in Abu Dhabi. Get up at 4 a.m. to watch it. The fuck are you talking about, dude?
I remember there was a fight going on. It was like fucking 10 o'clock in the morning. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
I woke up one day in the morning and I saw somebody posted a story at like 3 a.m. saying, woke up early for the UFC event. I was like, what the fuck? There's not enough money you can pay me to make me watch
You're
that.
fine thinking I'm waking up at that time.
No way, dude. I cherish my
happen.
sleep way too
Even
much.
fighters I like I'm not going out of my way.
I catch the highlights on
Yeah,
Instagram.
dude, I'll see it all. And there's going to be all the recorded fights. I don't care, dude. If
Yeah.
I want to watch it, I'll go watch it. Probably not going to though. So I don't invest that much time into all that. It's just
It's crazy, man. Go by Eastern Standard Time. Because think about Vegas is 3 hours behind us.
mm-hmm.
So if you go by Eastern Standard Time, so what, the main event would go on at what, 10 o'clock?
Usually.
Instead of like midnight?
Yeah.
So 10 o'clock is 7 o'clock their time,
Which is still good.
which is still good. You start the event at 4 o'clock
So you-
your time.
So you missed the preliminary fights from 5 to 7. Who cares? Like
Yeah.
it's not even that big of a deal.
We matter.
That's what I hated is we get that shit starting at midnight, bro. Midnight,
way, dude.
to start the main
No
card
way.
fight. You're crazy, man.
No way. I'm tired.
And-
especially if we
See,
go
that's the
somewhere
thing.
with uncomfortable seats.
I don't even say like it's because I'm tired, but that's the issue. It's like if we're going out in public, I'm now sitting in this fucking bar on a bar stool, just fucking waiting, or I'll have to stand most
I'm
of the
too
time
old,
if
my
it's too
back
packed,
hurt.
bro. Because it's not even about being tired. I'm up usually at those times.
Yeah.
It's just that I'm not wanting to be uncomfortable and watch this go down. And the worst part is
The crowds.
yeah, dude, I don't like it. But the
But
worst,
remember when we were at Twin Peaks and all
Terrible.
the fucking bro dudes who never trained a martial art a day in their life, they were all like screaming, how, blah, blah, blah. And I'm
acting
like,
that
shut
tough,
the
dude. I was
fuck
like,
up,
Jesus
dude.
Christ, bro. Like,
Stop before I sick Brie on you.
that's it. It's just like it's not even going to be the
120
guys.
pound
Not even going to be the
black
guys that are going to
brown
put you
belt.
out. Like that,
Beat you up.
she's going to choke you, and you're going to get hurt. It's going to be funny, and none of us are going to help you. It's just going to be hilarious to watch. But what I hate is like when it gets to the main card, and I like it's great to see it where it's like the instant knockouts, like oh damn, he caught him with that one hit, 5-second knockout, whatever. But I also hate it because we stayed up till fucking midnight, waited, fight starts, instant knockout. I'm like, didn't even go all the fucking way. I waited all this time just
I
for you to
actually
get
get
knocked
happy
out.
when it's a knockout because I'm ready to go.
Like it's not, but that's what I mean. It's nice because like fuck yeah, like now night's over, we're good.
We're good.
But it's also like, really, I waited this whole fucking time and you couldn't give me something. You couldn't
Your
fucking
intro
scrap?
was longer than the fight?
Yeah, like what the fuck, bro? Damn it!
Bro.
I get so upset, man. It's just
That's one
aggravating.
person. That's one person I can't wait till they become a black belt, Brie.
Mhm.
Because that's the true definition right there. That's the true definition of heart, character, bro, defiance against all odds. Bro, every reason in the world to quit what we do. If you guys don't know, Brie is a brown belt here. Man, she's like, what did I say, 120 pounds, 130
I'd
pounds?
say no. She's like 110, 120.
Yeah,
Anywhere from
she's
there. If
very
she's,
tiny.
If she's 130, I'll be shocked.
But let me tell you, she gives me, behind all the black belts, you, Zach, probably one of the hardest roles. Like, she is just a phenomenal. She's able to, like, snake her hands right under my chin. She's fast. She's relentless. Bro, she just goes for things. Honestly, it's the biggest inspiration to me. She is the one that I'm like, when she gets a black belt, I'm just going to be like, bro, you are the definition of jiu-jitsu. Like, you are. You really are.
Bigger,
You
faster,
going up
stronger,
against
literally everyone.
200-pound guys, 250-pound guys. It doesn't matter if you weigh 300 pounds, jacked out of your mind. If you step on these mats and she's here, she's going to roll with you. She don't care. She just roll with everybody. And that's what makes her so much better than most people because her technique is so sharp going up against guys like me who could muscle out of things or
Literally
do
just
things.
muscle out of it.
Bro, she's caught me in arm bars, triangles, crazy loop chokes. And that's why I'm like, dude, if I know her, like, she's very busy with work and stuff, but if she was to compete, bro, she would be sharp as a tack because
She's
you know,
smart with it.
she's smart and she's always going up against gorillas.
Yeah.
So what is another 120-pound female going to be when she's always
That's
rolling
what I
with
tell
the
people all the
guys?
time. Like at night class, because obviously there's a big weight difference between day and night class.
Oh, yeah.
And
Our day class average is like 210 pounds or something.
last time we did an average,
Pounds.
last average we did was 230.
Yeah.
That was the last average though. We haven't updated that in a while since you've cut weight because that's also when you were walking around at like 215 and all
Yeah.
that. So that's when I was walking around at like 185, and I would drop all the way
The
down.
average was 230.
That was the average.
That was the average.
And that was still when people, like, there was a few of us that were still below 200, though. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
the thing. It was like a few of us still were below, and it still didn't matter.
Didn't matter.
But that's what I tell people at night class. They're like, bro, like, your pressure's good. Like, you give no space. I'm like, because I train with gorillas in the morning.
Yeah.
These guys, if you give them 1 inch, you're getting bench pressed off. I can't let you move at all. And now people are like, oh, well, you're moving real fast. Because again, if they grab me, I'm not moving. I had to get really good at moving around and staying mobile without getting caught.
They're all really big, and majority of them are upper belts.
Yeah, that's also
It's not like they're really big and like whatever.
just
They're
training
all
with
like
white belts. It's
black,
like
brown,
purple and
purple
up.
belts,
It's
yeah.
literally purple, brown, black. It's like, God damn it,
Yeah.
dude. So day class, that's why when people at night, they're like, oh my God, like, one, you're training multiple hours. Like, yes, my night training, I try. It's not like I'm being easy at night. But it's like I put my all in day class. Like, this is where I'm trying to get my hard
day
training
class.
in.
I break out my A game stuff where
Yes.
it's like I'm gonna work on like the
Yes.
game I already have. Night class is more of like my play around class. And don't take offense, I'm not saying play around like I don't get hard rolls.
It's like
Obviously,
I'm testing this.
yeah, I
this
have you,
motion or
Kane, and
something.
Jake.
Yeah.
I have like a lot of tough people at night. Johnny. It's just that's the more the time where I get to experiment
Because
more.
there's
Like
a lot more white belts that show up. So it's
Yeah.
like the probability that I have to roll with a lower belt is
It's
a lot
higher.
higher. So it's like, that's my chance. Like, okay, well, I've been working spider. Let me try to work my lasso too. Like, that's where I can
but
practice that
you
to then
need
apply it
classes
to
like
day
that.
class.
You can't have just classes where you only work your A game material. You got to have the classes where you have time to experiment and like, okay, what if I give this blue belt or purple belt my arm? Okay, and now
Yes.
I work my way out of this. As opposed to when I roll with black belt like Brian, I cannot just lackadaisically give him my arm because he's going to take it off my shoulder.
Yeah.
So you need those classes where you're experimenting and playing. And trust me, there are times I get caught, came and catch me a triangle, you catch me an arm bar, whatever the case may be. But you need those classes where you are playing around and trying new shit. Otherwise, your game stays stagnant. You're never going to evolve.
Yeah.
You have to always make an effort for your game to evolve. And that means putting your ass in bad positions. Oh, I go to turtle. I extend my neck out. Okay, the guy has my neck. Now let me start to fight.
See, and that's where I was talking about that with Elias the other day. Like, where people always talk, the whole thing with jiu-jitsu, like, oh, it gets rid of your ego, it gets rid of your. No, it doesn't. Jiu-jitsu does not get rid of your ego. It will humble you,
Yeah.
but you still have an ego. No one likes to lose. I don't care who you are. No one's out here wanting to lose a roll. I get it. It's practice. No one wants to lose a roll. Good. Try.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean like you're going at competition level, but it also means like you're not just laying like a fish.
Yeah.
But then there's also the aspect like people think that, oh, they're going to be humble. They're going to come in and like everyone's just going to be nice and easy. Like, that's not the goal. What I don't like, what I see when people say these things, I imagine their gym.
No, I think we're taking it in a weird way. It's not that it's not humbling because this thing is humbling.
Yes, it
this
very
thing is humbling. But I get what you're saying that when you get there's like stages. So like when you first walk into a gym, let's say you're a big meathead, 250-pound guy, ego or whatever. When you first come to a gym, you will either quit or get humbled.
Oh,
you
bro,
will
Leah,
either.
120 pounds. I was 225 benching 315
Yeah,
for reps.
you will-
She choked me out 7 times.
Yeah, you will either you'll get humble as a person, and I'm not saying that humble meaning you never want to win or never want to be competitive.
Yeah.
I think we're taking the difference between humble and competitive. Of course, we're competitive. When me and you roll, we're trying to kill each other. We're trying to do things, but we humble in the aspect of like if Gian or Brian smashes us. Yeah, we humble because we know it's very hard to beat those guys or
Yeah.
Fabio. Like they're just so much leaps and bounds ahead of us. It's going to take us time to get to that level if we ever do get to that level.
Yeah.
But what was I saying? We're competitive with them, but we're also humble in the aspect of I don't go up to Brian and be like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
Or like
Or
a
if you
dick
like
or some
you
shit.
win and you brag about it because you
Yeah.
understand that it could have just been your day or something.
Yeah, dude.
But what I mean is like when these people are saying
If I
this-
ever get lucky against any of those guys, I keep my mouth shut. You'll never hear a word out of my mouth about it ever in my life. And it's very few and far between. It's very rare
yeah, it's
that
not
I
like it's
catch
always a constant.
any of those
either.
guys.
It's just,
But you're never going to catch me the next day being like, oh, look who I tapped. Look who I. That I think is the humbling aspect of it.
Yes.
Because I could see a guy who has a big ego on his chest come in here, maybe
Thinking
smash a bunch of white belts and then be like, oh, I went to jiu-jitsu. I beat up all these guys, blah, blah, blah. But then they roll against a guy like you or me and we thrash
Thrash
them. And then they get humbled.
and they're like, oh, damn, this is the real part. But what I'm meaning is like when people get like this and it's like they want everything to kind of go easy. I'm just like, I don't know. So I like the aspect that we have in this gym is where no matter what, like we are a self-defense gym. in a sense, right? Like we train hard. The way you guys teach, like you and Fabio, obviously, like because of Fabio's influence, is very focused on pressure.
Yeah.
And I love that because like what made it, when I went to other gyms and they thought I was an MMA guy, I was like, no, this is how we train.
Yeah.
And I love that aspect because going to these other places, they're like, oh, like it's like you're going hard. It's like, no, I'm just not letting you do something.
Yeah.
Like I don't know when this whole thing of jiu-jitsu is like, oh, drop the egos. You don't have to win the roll. Like make things go flowy and easy. It's like, that's not.
This is where I think jiu-jitsu starts to branch off is people need to remember jiu-jitsu started off as self-defense first.
Yeah.
If you're in a self-defense situation, right, and I have you on the ground, I'm not going to give you any space because you just tried to kill me.
Yeah.
And now my goal is to either neutralize or kill you.
Yep.
So I'm not going to give you space. I'm not going to berimbolo or do some move that causes space. I'm going to go knee on belly, hold your collars up to bring them up to create more pressure, drive my knee into you, or I'm going to get a mount, put a lot of pressure on you, side control, a lot of pressure. I'm not going to give you any space. And I think at some point when jiu-jitsu, not just a self-defense, also became competitive, we opened up branches for more looser games. Yeah. Now, looser games, I'm not saying they don't work in the aspect of jiu-jitsu as a sport.
Yeah, versus jiu-jitsu.
But we're talking about self-defense, dude. You're never going to fucking pull guard in self-defense. You're never going to play spider guard in self-defense. You're never going to, I don't know, think of some other crazy thing.
Berimbolo.
You're never going to do these high-risk, low-reward for a self-defense aspect. And people don't know how to differentiate those two things. We stay traditional in the aspect of self-defense first. Of course, we have a core group of guys that compete. I'd say we have, on average, 15 to 20 competitors at the gym, and the rest are just, this is not a demeaning term, hobbyists or casual. They're doing it for fitness. They're doing it to learn a new skill. They're doing it for self-defense, mental health. They're not doing it to be a competitor in jiu-jitsu, which is okay. But you get into this mindset where, like, competitors, bro, you see a badass competitor who doesn't know how to defend himself. You could be a 80cc world champion, but you don't know how to defend yourself in a proper situation.
So that's where I'm starting to think
what the fuck?
And I get being good at jiu-jitsu is really good, but like if you don't know how to do the basic self-defense motions, I think you're failing yourself. Like even if you're a world champion, good. I would love to be a world champion. I'm not saying I'm even near that skill level. You'll fuck me up in jiu-jitsu probably. Like not probably, like you will. You're a world champion. But the aspect that if I throw one smack to your face and now your game is completely shut,
you're like that, what the fuck was that?
That blows me away. Like again,
that's why I like when we do that.
I was doing drill. Elias and I were just doing it yesterday. Like he slapped me once, I slapped him back, and then we turned it into. We stood up, started throwing little slaps, like
nothing
slaps.
Crazy. This thing Fabio calls it taperia. It's like just tapping, just touching. Like, hey, I have side control, and you tap. It's not meant to knock the guy out. It's just to show, hey, in this situation. You vulnerable. I'm able to hit you here. And this forces you to learn the self-defense aspect of it of, oh shit, I can't do this because I'm going to get hit. I got to move.
It teaches a lot. It teaches you. And that's where like when people, I don't like when they separate it so much. One, I think competition is phenomenal for self-defense because you are now fighting a stranger who is going to try to break you or kill you. Like they are going to try to put you to sleep or they're going to try to break something. Yeah. That's a perfect scenario right there. That is, yes, it's controlled. You count all these people that you can't eye gouge, you can't bite. Shut the fuck up. Because if I hold your wrist, I told it to Elias yesterday. I was like, you think I'm going to play fair? If I hold your wrist down and your eye is sitting there, I promise you, I'm poking your eyes out. If we're in self-defense
and you have a knife,
I am gouging shit out, bro. I'm punching you in the nuts. I'm doing whatever I can. I will bite you, bro. Yeah. I will have control and still bite. I don't give a shit. I'm not playing in that scenario. No. I'm winning in that. That's it.
I'm not going to play fair.
But competition, I think, yes, obviously there's
it's a different mindset because you don't have to worry about
and that's where I think you should go in there, not worried obviously that this guy's going to try to do something like gouge or anything like that, but like I'm still rolling with you. I want to engage because like how we say for competition here, and I do love that mentality, is I want to see if my game works. Yeah. So when people do just sit, it does annoy me. I don't care. I get it. It's jiu-jitsu versus jiu-jitsu. Go ahead. Sit down. You call that, I don't even say that's pulling guard. That's playing guard to me. I don't know why people call sitting down pulling guard either. Because I'm like, that's not pulling guard.
No, I don't think anybody classifies that as pulling guard.
Well, no, that's what everyone complains about online. When someone sits down, they're like, oh, he's pulling guard.
You got to make the grips first.
That's pulling guard. Yeah. When you make grips, you step on the hip. But that's active
when people sit like from standing with no contact,
And I'm like, that's not pulling guard. The guy literally just sat down. So when people call it that, that annoys me. But either way, back to the whole thing. Competition is like the ultimate thing. You get the adrenaline rush. You have a guy that's just trying to fight you. You have, obviously there's coaches and people screaming, but that also builds that sensation when you do get into a fight to avoid tunnel vision. And like people got so far away from wanting to actually engage. And I'm not saying you have to be the best wrestler or anything, but bro, people in street fights all the time are going to try to just spear into you.
Yeah.
You're telling me you just always sit down, you don't know how to sprawl right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying be the most efficient wrestler, but dude, learn to sprawl.
Yeah.
Learn to at least get the underhook immediately. Learn how to control a wizard. Like, people look so much into, that's why I hate when they're like, wrestling's better, judo's better, jiu-jitsu. It's like, bro, learn it all because they're helpful. But even if it's the most basic form, if you know how to sprawl, you're saving a lot of fucking, you save yourself in a lot of situations.
Dude, I tell the cops on Saturdays, I was like, you guys realize if you just train for 6 months, you are leaps and bounds ahead in a real world situation on top of most people.
Yeah.
The everyday average Joe, if I take a cop and he trains for 6 months, he is leaps and bounds ahead of any criminal he's going to come into contact with. Not all, because you can have a criminal who used to wrestle back in the day.
Or used to box. There was that video that you saw, the one with the cop. The wrestler was like I think he was 14 or 16 years old. He was a teenager. He's a wrestler. Yeah. And then the people are making fun of the cop like, oh, wow, you got punked by a kid. And then they looked up the kid because they ended up catching him.
Yeah.
But the kid was like, he's a state champion wrestler. Yeah. It's like, bro, what do you think is
criminals can train too?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, in general, you are leaps and bounds ahead of most people if you train for 6 months.
Yeah.
And people nowadays, it's, oh man, the internet has done so much good in the world, but it's also done so much fuck shit where like people just have this abrasiveness about them that they know it all. Bro, I'm the first one to tell you, I don't know shit about dick in life. But you have these people who like just hop online. Oh, I'm a purple belt. Oh, I'm a blue belt. This is what I think you should do. And this is how I think you should do it. And this is the roadmap. And it's like, what the fuck do you know?
Roadmap.
What the fuck do you know? You're the same guy that if something traumatic happened in your life, you crumble and you disappear off the same Instagram for 6 months and no one hears from you. You're the same guy that if things don't go right in your gym, you don't know how to face adversity. So who the fuck are you to talk about anything in life? Bro, you gotta go through the trials and tribulations of life. And that doesn't just count in life. For jiu-jitsu, it counts in the trials and tribulation in jiu-jitsu itself. You got to go through those hard times. You got to drive home upset. I can't tell you how many times.
Just mad as shit.
As a white belt, as a blue belt, as a purple belt, so many times I drive home frustrated like, I don't understand. How come this doesn't work? Yeah. I don't understand. How come this? You got to go through those errors. And these people just hop online and they pretend like their road to success has always been
the most perfect
just
person.
Success.
That blows me away when I say, especially when I do see like even purple belts. Because I'm like, one, if you think about it, white belt and blue belt are beginners.
Yeah.
Purple belt, you're intermediate.
Yeah.
Brown is you're getting advanced, and like black, I wouldn't even say like your first stripe as a black belt. You're still, I wouldn't say an expert. But like you're damn near close now. But
I still feel new.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm coming up on a year and a half as a black belt. I still feel new.
What happens when you go to comp and now you meet the 5 degree, the 6 degree, and you're like,
bro, you know what it's like?
I know shit.
You know what it's like to have a black belt for a year and a half? People are like, oh my God, you're a black belt. I'm like, that doesn't mean shit. You step on the mats and across from you is a 4th degree or 5th degree black belt. And you're like,
separate shit for you.
You've been a black belt longer than I've been doing jiu-jitsu as a whole. That's insane. But again, you just got to go through these experiences. You have to go through them. And you know what? You can't hide from them. People nowadays on social media, especially social media, they hide from their losses. Bro, I'm the first one. I don't care. Yeah. I'll post my hand not getting raised. Bro, it's a great match. I had an experience. If social media is supposed to be a mimic of your life, that's a part of your life. But people hide from their losses. Oh, I don't post my loss. I don't post when I lose. You have to own up to this. This is why I think people use social media for good things and bad things. They use it to glorify how great their life is, but they also hide from the bad things in their life. Why? Why can't I post a photo of the other guy getting his hand raised? He did a great job. I had a great experience. It was a part of my life. It's a thing that happened. Post it. Who cares? You only going to post when you're winning? That's so silly, dude.
It's like...
that tells me more about you than it tells me about me. Like it tells me that your fragile ego can't handle people in your circle in life seeing you lose.
That's perfect. So that's where I was going with the whole ego thing, is that part. Yeah. Is when people say that they got rid of their ego due to jiu-jitsu, it's just like then post your losses.
Yeah.
Post your losses.
Post your L's.
Yeah,
I post
let's
them
see
all
it.
the time.
Let's see it. Let's see your losses.
I've lost
let's
way
see you
more than I won.
Let's see you talk about your losses.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can't speak about it? Oh, you don't want to bring it up? Let me guess, it was always the ref's fault?
Yeah.
Or
you know what my
or you were
favorite?
sick?
You know what my favorite is? When people post in their bios their win-loss record. I'm like, you keep a track of this?
Yeah.
If you ask me right now, Joe, how many wins in all of your jiu-jitsu career and how many losses? I couldn't tell you the number. I literally couldn't tell you. It's crazy that you fixate so much on this number. Why? Because you saw people like Floyd Mayweather go undefeated 50-0, so now you feel like you have to build up this track record in your head. Oh, look, I'm a jiu-jitsu brown belt or a purple belt or black belt. I'm 10-0 in submission grappling. Who gives a fuck, dude? Nobody cares. Nobody's going to come to you at the end of your life and be like, on his headstone, he went 17-1 in jiu-jitsu super fights. Nobody does that, dude.
And that's where
you fucking loser. In my opinion, you loser. I look at you like you are a clown.
So I get it when you're young, like the
because
guys.
that's a young man thing to do.
A young man.
But I see people in masters divisions.
Yeah,
do
that's
this.
what I'm saying. Like,
and I'm like, come on, dude.
If you're like in the teens into your 20s.
That's how I know you're not ready to be a black belt. If I see that, I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. Is like your teens and 20s. It makes sense to do that. One, because I guarantee they all have the aspirations to become professional, right? Like that's going to be the goal. You already know if they're posting that. One, if you're in masters and you're not a professional in jiu-jitsu, bro, settle down if you're posting your fucking record like that. If you're already not being sponsored and paid to show up to these things and like have your academy and all, dog.
Also, who's keeping a track? Because anyone could change it. But I could put on 500-0 and nobody's. Who's gonna validate
we looked you up.
that?
It wasn't there. It's small competition.
Small comps.
Only
within small
the gym.
super fights
within the gym.
I'm 500-0 against homeless people.
Yeah, like bro, I don't know. It's.
Bro, it's
so when people when they're doing that, I get it. If you're young, bro, all about it. I mean, we're fresh into our 30s, so like we're still in that young category, but it's also like that's not the end all be all. And the aspirations should be, again, you guys talk about it all the time too. And what it did change my mindset in the beginning of jiu-jitsu, and I loved hearing about it, was you're here for jiu-jitsu for life. The goal is to try to be here at the end of your life to be able to still roll.
I want to be on my deathbed because the day before I was on the mats.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Like that should be the real goal. It should be, oh, can I teach someone? Like, oh, if you only did jiu-jitsu for you and you went that whole career, but you cannot teach a single person, like, I get it. You did a lot for yourself, but like,
you didn't pass any knowledge on.
You can't pass it on. Like, you can't get that replicated out of you. Like, that's, to me, if you did that, I see it as a failure because it's like, what did you really spend your life doing? If you only did it for yourself, like,
the line ends with you.
Yeah,
the line ends with you.
And that's not helpful.
You didn't pass it on to kids. You didn't teach them the values. Bro, little things. Bow to go on the mat. Bow to go on the mat.
I'm hating seeing right now everyone's shit on these traditional things because they're like, it's like a cult. No, it's a martial art.
Yeah.
There's respect in martial arts. When you bow into the mat, people are like, oh, what am I? I'm a slave to the guy, so I have to bow to him and I have to show respect to some guy that died. Dude, it's the fact that, yes,
you have to show respect.
Like, it's literally you just show respect.
You're not just, first of all, by you bowing to come on the mats, you're not just showing respect to, I don't know if they can see it in frame, Helio. You're not just showing respect to Gracie family and Helio and all this stuff and jiu-jitsu as a martial art overall. You're not just showing respect to them. You're showing respect to your peers.
Yes.
You're saying, guys, it's good to see you all. Yeah. I'm coming onto the mats. You shake Fabio's hand. You shake my hand. Again, we're traditional in the aspect of those little things. We're not super strict with it. We're like, you have to go to Fabio very first. And then you got to go to Gian. Then you got to go to Johnny. Then David. Then me. Bro, we're not super strict like that. Like if you go to like a new black belt and then you come to me, I'm never gonna be like, oh, you should have shook my hand first. That I think you're being a little too strict and an asshole.
All right, chill out.
But you show respect that you acknowledging, guys, I'm here to train. And not only that,
to me, that also
when you leave, it's saying, I had a good training. This was awesome. I'm leaving now.
And it's also it's just a courtesy. Yeah. Like that's
you hang up on the phone of your parents without saying I love you, mom.
It's like
you do that. You ever talking to your mom or your dad on the phone, you just say, all right, bye, and just click without saying I love you.
No.
But this is tradition. This is a tradition. This is a small form of tradition. Every time I hang up with my dad or when I used to talk to my mom, bye, I love you. I'll talk to you soon. I love you. I would say 3 or 4 times. This is a tradition thing. If you hang up without saying that, try telling Mac goodbye without saying I love you.
Her whole family does that.
What?
Her family does it. They don't say I love you. because I was listening to her talk to her mom one day.
Wait a minute.
They don't say it. She said she was talking to her mom. And
Be very careful.
No,
she's gonna watch this.
I know she will, and that's the thing, because she's starting to say it now because I got on her about it. She didn't say it to her mom, and I was like, oh, that was weird, but like whatever. I didn't really think about it because we've been together for a hot minute, but I never really like listened to her conversations. That day I was, and then she got on the phone with her sister, and then they just hung up, and I was like, and I remember I was on the couch, and because the way our couch was like angled, she was like right behind me, so I just leaned over and I was like, hey, call her back. She was like, why? I was like, tell her you love her. I was like, why didn't you tell her you love her? I was like, you didn't tell your mom you loved her either. And she was like, we don't really say it. She's like, we only say it like when we're traveling somewhere on a plane or something. I was like, no.
Wait a minute.
I was like, call her back and tell her you love her. She calls her back. She goes, Mary wants to tell me that I love you. And they're just like, you
Was
heard
her mom like, okay?
yeah, they were awkward about it. She goes, oh, I love you too. She was like, okay. And then she called her sister, and Harley was just like, why? And I was like, say it to each other. Tell each other that you love each other. That's fucking weird to not say it to each other. It's like,
I don't want to say anything right now because I don't want to judge other families and what they do. It's none of my business. You got your own thing. But like, man,
hey man, tell your family members you love them, bro.
I couldn't imagine hanging up on my dad and not saying I love you.
That's the thing.
Because I already know what it's like to not be able to say it to somebody anymore. So like this, I don't know. This would bother me so much if I ever hung up on my dad and God forbid, knock on wood, something happened.
Right after, yeah.
And it's like, fuck, I didn't say I love you the last time. You would think about that.
Yeah.
You don't think
it would be on your head.
But that would haunt you for the rest of your life. That damn it, I hung up on him and
I didn't say it that time. And it's just like, that's why you just gotta say it, bro. That's why when I, like, it was just a weird thing I saw, and I was like, what the fuck?
I mean, I don't judge. Again, like families are different.
No, fuck that. Tell your family members you love them. If you guys don't say it, start saying it. If you don't hug each other. Fucking, who cares?
Yeah.
Do it. Show affection. Like Keith. When Keith was just like, we don't hug in my family. I was like, go fucking hug your mom.
Just go hug your mom and your dad. Just fucking.
But he said that it's because they both grew up that way where they didn't show that love either. And I was like, Keith, go do it. Just be that kid.
Just be the guy. You already doing everything against your dad.
I told
him
getting
nose piercings and tattoos, and his dad's very militant. You already going against the vine.
You met his dad, right?
He is an action figure. The man is built. He's
6'5".
Jacked out of his mind. The man is built like a fucking G.I. Joe, dude.
I was training his sister's dog, and then I didn't know he worked.
I didn't even know Keith had a sister until now. Wow.
So I was training his sister's dog. It was his sister and the boyfriend. And I was training their dog, and we went to Home Depot because you take the dogs out in public and all that.
Yeah.
I didn't know the dad just worked at Home Depot because Keith told me the guy's retired and all that. So I figured, retired. But apparently he works there part-time because he's just bored with his life. And then
when you retire, you have to get something.
You have to do something.
Otherwise, you're going to get stagnant and die.
He came up to us, and I just turned around. I was like, Jesus Christ. And I was like, hey, sir. I was like, I don't know if you remember. He goes, I do. I was like, okay. And I was like trying to throw bullshit at him, and he was like very quick with his responses. Not in like a mean way. Yeah. He is legitimately just very militant. It was just very funny. And he was like, is she doing everything you're telling her? I was like, oh yeah, look, the dog is doing great. Like he's doing good. He goes, good.
When I met his dad at the competition, I was just like, bitch, you need to start eating more. Look what you could aspire to be with your physique. Your dad is literally your genetics, and he's jacked, and Keith is so skinny. I'm just like, if you just ate more, look what you could just have. You know how lucky you are? I would kill. My dad was a soccer player. He's a little string bean. I had to fight and grit and grind to get to the body that I have now.
That's how I feel, bro. It's like, this is some bullshit, dude. I see some people touch the weights for 3 months and they just get them transformations, and I'm like, you bitch. Yeah. My buddy Mark, bro, him and I, we went
freakishly big.
Bro, one, he's the only one like that in his family, right? And him and I, we would literally just work out together all the time, at all times, lifting the same weights. And he would just massively grow, and I would just stay the same.
Yeah.
Like my weights would all go up. I would be getting strong as shit. Nothing would change. He'd get fucking vascular, just ripped. And I'm just over here like, and people would ask me all the time, like, you guys work out together, right? I'm like, I'm literally the one designing the program.
At this point, I'm just banking on my old man strength to kick in any day now.
It's just fucking bullshit.
Guys, we'll see you next week. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Tell your families you love them because we love you.
Yes.